Hello, for today's review I've got one of the most awaited and one of the most asked gadgets of last few months. It's Hidizs or Hidizs AP80 Pro. To be honest, even non-pro version of AP80 is still a pretty decent offer on the market because it's offering good sound, nice design, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty actual model, and they could still sell it even for the full price. But of course, Hidizs management decided not to wait until the model will be pushed out of market, so they decided to discount existing AP80. It's now available for about $120, which makes its price to quality ratio even better. And to replace it, they released this version. They named it AP80 Pro, but price is the same. It's sold for $170, and it's the price of regular AP80 at the launch. I will add links to the Hi-Fi Go where I get it to the description. But they've decided to upgrade model a little bit and replace the existing model with a bit better one. So not a huge upgrade, but a good and viable step forward in terms of sound quality. They decided not to change what is already okay, so it has same firmware, really similar design, and all other stuff, but they've upgraded audio part a little bit. Actually, they doubled the number of digital to analog converters used here. So this player now has two ES9218 chips for digital to analog conversion, and of course having two digital to analog converter chips allowed them to add the balanced out with more than 2 times higher power. So single-ended output here has same 70 milliwatts for 32 ohms per channel as previous version of AP80. But balanced output can now deliver up to 190 milliwatts for 32 ohms load per channel, and it's a good boost for those who use some full-size headphones and so on, but we will cover it a little bit later. And now let's have a closer look, because I already said too many words for the introduction. Box is traditional for Hidizs, just black with nice polygraphy, embossing, looks strict and pretty stylish. On the back there are some technical information, so 9218 Saber chips, 61 by 56 by 13 and 8 millimeter size, so let's focus on it. And now it's focusing better. So it's a bit bigger, few millimeters in all dimensions than regular one, but so that means that regular case won't fit it. aptX and LDAC Bluetooth, and it supports both directions, so it can be used as a transmitter and receiver. FM radio supported. So what else we can find useful here? So 2.5 inch screen with resolution 480 by 360, and also interesting specifications. They've added DSD256 support, but I don't think it's a huge advantage. And they also actually didn't change other stuff probably, or I can't recall it right now. So let's open the box. Inside we will have player itself, nicely wrapped. Warranty card, silicone case, and 2 USB cables. So regular one to use it for charging, to connect it to your computer or other stuff, and shorter one, micro USB to USB-C, so if you want to connect it to some digital to analog converter or to use it as a digital to analog converter. So nice accessory set. good that they've put this silicone case inside. And let's proceed to unwrapping it. So we will peel it. Thanks Hidizs for applying protective screens out of the box. I hate gluing them. As you can see, in terms of design, it's absolutely similar player. There are a few different color versions. I got silver one, but also there is blue, red and some other. Also there were some limited versions, copper and stainless steel. They are sold out already as far as I know, but maybe they will appear somewhere else. I did a review for the copper version of the AP80 and it's a really good dub, both in terms of design and it offers a bit different sound. So it's really small, not as small as FIO M5 or Shenlink M0, but still one of the smallest dubs. So here you can see it's noticeably smaller than FIO M6, and also it's smaller and more lightweight than Shenlink Q1. So as you can see, it's more pocketable dub, and actually weight is really light, so 72 grams if I remember right. And nice design, nothing super fancy, but looks pretty good. So two outputs, regular one and balanced output. Also regular one can be used as a line out as usual. Also if you need FM radio, you have to plug your headphones to the single-ended output, because headphones cable work as antenna. And USB Type-C, as usual, it's really universal. You can use it for charging, to access the files on the microSD card, to use it as digital NOT converter, or to use it as a digital transport. Speaking about the charging, full charge took about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and it will give you about 8 hours from balanced output and about 12 hours from single-ended output. Of course, it's approximate numbers because it depends on load, it depends on screen usage and so on. Here is microSD slot. As you can see, it's a bit recessed inside of case, so you will need longer nails. No internal memory, but microSD cards became cheaper and cheaper. And here there are 3 buttons for volume, for playback control, and they are pretty good, nice, clicky. And as usual, there is a volume control, also it can be pushed. And actually Hidizs addressed one of the issues that some people dislike in previous versions. So this clicking and rotating wheel is really good. Almost no wobbling, no wiggling, just a little bit, but I think for this price range it's acceptable. Of course, I'm speaking about my player, maybe there are different dubs. But in terms of controls, it's really nice. You can just hold it and blindly press the buttons. No problems, no issues, nothing like that. On the back side there is a glass-like cover. Looks pretty attractive, and actually fingerprints are not super visible here. And on the front panel here is the main screen. Actually, is there slide down menu? No. So system settings, brightness, let's move brightness to maximum level, and here it is. Nice viewing angles, good resolution, nice colors, pretty good sensor, so swipes are easy. And as you can see, here used firmware made by Hidizs, so no issues with animation. Let's start some track, so I can show you viewing angles. Brightness is enough even for to use under the direct sunlight. Maybe you will need to cover it a little bit, but picture on the screen is pretty pleasant, so no issues with the screen. Oh, here is this control menu. It's sliding not from top but from bottom. And actually that's all about the build quality, package and exterior. I think I can say it's built nicely, really solid thing, Hidizs improved building process, at least based on the players that I have. So here how this player looks in this silicone case. Mine has some minor defect, but it's just a protector until you buy something better. I really want leather case for it. And about firmware. Firmware is made by Hidizs as usual, so it means that it's pretty reliable and feature packed. Main screen has two set of icons with scrolling. Actually, I think they could make them smaller and put 6 icons on one screen. But anyway, so about is really simple, just a basic information about this player and system settings. So language, a lot of languages here, music database update automatic or manual, brightness, backlight time, color theme, so you can customize the accent color if you'd like, font size, I switched to middle, but even bigger one can be sometimes handy. USB mode, it's storage, audio and dock. Not sure what is dock, but audio probably it's the digital converter. Buttons operation, probably it means the buttons from the talk control. Time settings, you can set date and time here, idle timer, sleep timer if you need it, show or not battery percentage, standby, no, here is inline remote, so that's this one for the inline remote, and button operation, it's just probably to turn off these side buttons if you don't need them. Recording steps, it has built-in pedometer, so do you need it to work or not. Lock volume knob, so do you need to unlock the player to change volume or not. Screensaver settings, so it can show album cover or dynamic cover, so we've seen that before. And factory reset and firmware update. So Bluetooth in the separate menu item, you turn it on. Here is device name, Hibby link if you need, so you can control this player with your smartphone or another Hibby device. Nice feature. So high quality, what codecs you will need, so as you can see it supports UAT, aptX, SBC and LDAC, so all modern codecs. Bluetooth volume adjustment, if you need, if you have some device with Bluetooth volume control. Surge devices, paired devices available, so everything is pretty familiar here. Let's go back. Step counter, well, it's pretty simple, so history, delete and current values. Not sure if necessary. FM radio is traditional. It's asking to insert headset, but it's pretty traditional, medium in terms of sensitivity, but works well with local stations, so you will it will be okay for everyday urban usage. And media player, it's typical creation of Hidizs. You've seen this firmware many times before. Once again, I must admit that it works pretty fluently for a small and inexpensive device. Here is regular media library and all tracks, files, albums, artists by genres and by format. Favorites, recent and playlists. And now playing screen, let's select some track. Okay, Annihilator is a good option. So now playing screen is also familiar, big album cover, add to favorites, tracks navigation, play order, and additional menu. So list now playing, playlist, add to playlist, equalizer, view album, properties, and delete. So everything that you will need. As usual, if you touch and hold, you can delete tracks or add it to playlist. So you know, there are things that became really familiar for modern dubs, the behaviors that you can expect. And here is the menu, update database. MSEB is a nice feature for those who would like to tweak sound. It reminds equalizer a little bit, but instead of changing different bands, you adjust things like overall sound representation, so cooler, brighter, or warmer, darker, bass extension, bass texture, note thickness, sibilance. So of course, when you turn it on, it's noticeable that it starts altering the sound, and actually I prefer to keep all the sound tweaks off, but if you like to adjust the sound, it's a really good option. And of course, there is a regular equalizer, you can activate it and adjust the band as you'd like. And also play settings, you can select here. Play mode, it's order, DSD output mode PCM, DSD over PCM or native, DSD gain compensation, resume playback from track or from position, gapless playback. Still have no idea why someone can want to turn it off. Sound field, it's probably kind of crossfeed effect, haven't tested yet. Maximum volume, fixed power up on boot up, crossfade between the tracks if you need. Gain low and high, replay gain, nice feature if you have some compilation of tracks with different volume. Balance, as usual, digital filter, play through folders and play through albums. So all options, so as you can see, it's really feature packed, a lot of options here. So player is really good in terms of features, sound tweaks, and all the other stuff. Firmware works really okay, player works with diacritics, so no big issues, at least during first round of testing. And of course about the sound, so let's have some earphones on the table. It's Noble Audio Han. Still great in their monitors despite releasing Sultan, but Han is still great. And you know, in terms of sound, it's our good friend that we know as Hidizs AP80. Hidizs decided not to change the sound signature much, and actually I think it's a good step from their side. They knew what they do, and the AP80 has its bit of difference, so I already told it many times in videos and in the reviews. There are basically three upper entry level dubs. It's FIO M6 and Hidizs AP80 and Hibie R3, and now also Shanling Q1 added to this line, but all of them have a bit different signature, and the AP80 standing out because of its a bit more focused on the micro detalization and micro contrast resolution, and it's a bit on the brighter side of things, but just a little bit, and they preserve the sound, basically just added more power from balanced output, and actually didn't change the regular output, and I think it's a good idea, and why change what is already good. So it's natural, really resolving, bit highlighting micro detalization, so it's the probably the most audiophilic in general meaning of this word player in the entry level segment. Of course, not everyone likes such signature, but there are a lot of people who like it, so you know, there is no one single best player, but I will talk about it later in comparisons. So bass is deep, well controlled, and it has nice texturing, and it's not absolutely accented, so no additional energy put into the low frequencies, no highlighted low frequencies, just the amount that is present in the record. Of course, resolution isn't as good as in, for example, mid segment, but still pretty nice. It's probably a bit more suiting for the acoustic instruments, but anyway, if you'd like accented low frequencies, you just can pair it with some basic headphones. And it's pretty okay with texturing. Of course, it's lacking a bit of rich overtones, but anyway, lows are sounding pretty pleasant. And as an example, here is a track by Ghost, Mommy Dust. It has its signature big drums used in the... Okay, train passing by. Anyway, so it has Ghost signature drums, really big and kicking really low, and this player is capable of delivering this punch as it's appropriate. And also, if you have big headphones, if you will use them with balanced output, you will have better bass depth. But for the in-ear monitors, there is not much sense in using balanced output if they don't require more power. Mids are resolving, a bit more focused on the micro contrast, and that means the additional nitpicking for the quality of record. So you will have to find a better mastering, a bit better recording, and so on. It's part of this game. You'll have to play with this player, and in exchange it will reward you with all that smallest nuances and all the difference between different masterings. But of course, if there are some issues with recording, with records, it will show it to you pretty clean. Also, it's really good in representing instruments and voice, but it's not adding any weight and it's not adding any emotions, so if you like additional weight, probably it's not your job. Imaginary stage is above average both in width and in depth, not the most spacious in terms of sound, but a really good result for this segment. Of course, stage is a subjective thing. For me, usually natural or bright sources gives bigger stage. Maybe for you outcome can be a bit different. And as an example, for the mid frequencies, I've got John Zorn, A Shot in the Dark, and if you heard John Zorn, you understand that this track is pretty complicated, lot of different instruments, pretty chaotic melody, and well, it's avant-garde jazz, so it's John Zorn, it's the separate genre. And of course it requires resolution, and this player gives this necessary resolution and necessary instrument separation to represent this track. Not in perfect way, but really good for this segment. And treble is a bit accented, not of course in terms of frequency response, it just put a bit of additional energy to the treble, giving you a bit of additional crispness and highlighting. If you're not a fan of treble, maybe you need to consider some other dub, but if you are okay with higher frequencies, this player is really good. It has normal extension, really basic layering, but normal overtone saturation and pretty realistic attacks and decays with a good control. Well, I just trying to avoid the saying so, but it's, you know, what Sabre chips are known for, and this player gives this. And as an example for the treble, I've got King Crimson, Pictures of a City, so classical King Crimson, and lot of percussions, of course, here different cymbals and so on, and of course it requires nice treble, and this player delivers it in a good amount. So, to summarize everything, natural monitoring, sound focused a bit on the micro detailization with leaning a bit to the brighter side. In terms of pairing, it's good with sensitive in-ear monitors, not absolutely black background, but background noise isn't big, and from balanced output it can drive many full-size headphones, of course not some power-hungry planars, but balanced out allows you to drive much bigger cans. And as usual, actually I need to admit that there is no much sense in switching to the balanced out with the in-ear monitors. So if you have balanced cable, of course you can use it, but with single-ended output is really close in terms of sound, but of course it depends on the headphones. If headphones are power hungry, you will notice the difference switching to the balanced output, of course. And speaking about the compressions, let's have some close rivals on the table. Not every DAP I have, there are a few other models worth mentioning. I probably need to create additional video. So with regular AP80, of course the main difference is balanced output and additional power, and maybe a tad more tighter low frequencies, but difference isn't huge. And if you own regular AP80 and you don't need additional power, actually there is not much sense in upgrading. And FiiO M6 a bit less focused on the micro detailization and a bit more weighty, so a bit different signature. Hidizs R3 Pro is also, it's even more weighty than FiiO, so different absolutely representation. Hidizs is for those who like additional weight. These two DAPs are, you know, pretty close in terms of representation. Actually, not really close. They share pretty similar mids, but this one is a bit less focused on the micro details, while this one is more focused, and this one has a bit recessed treble, while this one has accented treble. So, you know, it's the model for those who like more weight and less treble. This one for those who need more contrast. What else we have in this price range? I don't remember. So copper version of AP80, it's actually more closer to Shenling's Q1, so more weight, less focus on the detailization. X-Duo DAPs, probably they are not a rival for this player, because X-Duo DAPs have usually recessed treble, and I mean X3 Mark II and what else? X10? No, X10 I don't remember actually. I have it for a short time. So X3 Mark II is in this price range. And actually X-Duo started upgrading their lineup. Probably they will release newer DAPs soon. Anyway, if you need some additional comparisons, just feel free to ask. And let's summarize this. Hidizs created a really good DAP. They upgraded it in a proper way, so they kept the same signature but adding more power, and I think it's a nice way of upgrading player. Also they improved build a little bit, so it's less wiggly wheel and better buttons, and still it feels really solid, and it's for the good player for those who need small device but really feature packed, because it can be used as transport, as digital to analog converter, as a transmitter, receiver, so on and so forth, and of course as a player, and all that in 70 grams. So thank you for listening and have a nice day.